Panicking Tory MPs fear Boris Johnson may call an early election in October to reassert his authority and get revenge for those plotting against him. The speculation follows threats issued by government whips during the fraud day of the vote of confidence in Mr. Johnson as Conservative leader. In a repeat of tactics used by the Prime Minister in 2019 to deliver Brexit when Remainers were expelled from the parliamentary party, some believe Mr. Johnson could suspend rebel MPs before calling a snap vote. The move would ban those eager to bring about his downfall from standing as a Conservative candidate in the general election, leaving the party full of loyalists. The Conservative leader is also considering sacking as many as 20 Tory frontbenchers for failing to publicly back him on social media ahead of Monday's confidence vote. MP Ben Bradley, who remains a supporter of Mr. Johnson, admitted yesterday it was inevitable some ministers had secretly rebelled and were quietly looking to bring down their leader. The Prime Minister is seeking to re-establish his control after 141 of his own MPs declared their desire to oust him from No 10 last night. He won the internal party ballot by a smaller majority than Theresa May in her 2018 confidence vote, with the former Tory leader only managing to drag out her premiership for 6 months beyond an attempted coup against her. Fearing a looming election, one senior Conservative backbencher told Express.co.uk, "It is the one card he has left to play. His authority has been all but sync with that vote against him and he needs a new mandate to restore his credibility." Another added, "There is a concern that he will make an example of a few rebel leaders by withdrawing the whip and then calling an early election so they cannot stand for the party." A third MP said, "An election is the only way to stop this government just limping on aimlessly." But some MPs believe his hand will be stayed because the Conservatives are well behind Labour in the polls. The recent Tekken UK/Express.co.uk tracker poll put Labour 8 points ahead, meaning that the door is open for Sir Keir Starmer to form an EU rejoiner alliance government with the Lib Dems. One veteran Conservative MP said, "An election now would be suicidal, even Boris wouldn't be that reckless." While some in the party remain jittery, Mr. Johnson last night claimed he would not call an election anytime soon, saying he was certainly not interested in the idea. The Prime Minister has sought to refocus his government in order to move on from the no-confidence vote, pledging to slash taxes. He told his cabinet yesterday morning, "We will have the scope, by delivering tax cuts, I think, to deliver considerable growth in employment and economic growth." He said he wanted to focus on driving reform and cutting costs. Mr. Johnson hailed the huge investment that we are making before adding, "But it's not enough just to spend money. We have got to spend it wisely. We as Conservative ministers, we have got to make sure at every stage that we are driving reform and driving value. So what I'm going to ask you all to do in each of your departments is make sure that you're thinking the whole time about cutting the costs of government, about cutting the costs that business has to face and of course cutting the costs that everybody else faces, families up and down the country." The Prime Minister thanked his top team for their support in the confidence vote and said the government were able now to draw a line under the issues that our opponents want to talk about and we are able to get on talking about the issues, the issues that I think that people want. Fear of a snap election come as Tory plotters remain eager to keep up the pressure on the embattled resident of No 10. Tory MP Andrew Bridgen, who has been one of the most prominent critics of the Prime Minister, suggested it was impossible to unite the party after yesterday's vote. The residual concerns from across the party will continue to remain, he said. Tobias Ellwood, Conservative chairman of the Commons Defence Committee, warned Mr. Johnson would now only survive for a matter of months. Meanwhile, Philip Dunn, former minister and current chairman of the Environmental Audit Committee, warned the Prime Minister he still faced very choppy waters that would be difficult to navigate for anyone. On June 23, 2 by-elections are taking place with the Tories attempting to hold on to both seats. Polling for Wakefield in West Yorkshire, and Tiverton and Honiton in Devon suggests the party is on track to heavily lose both votes. He is also facing several months of worsening economic conditions, with energy bills set to hit new highs in October. Technically Mr. Johnson is safe from another confidence vote from the Tories for another 12 months under party rules. A year's amnesty is in place in order to prevent repeated ballots of MPs at quick intervals. Those looking to get rid of the Prime Minister are therefore understood to be considering other ways of making life uncomfortable for him. Some want to undermine the Prime Minister by siding with Labour more often in the House of Commons when unpopular policies are brought forward by the government. Huge swaths of Tory MPs steered clear of a debate in the House of Commons on standards in public life yesterday afternoon, refusing to defend Mr. Johnson's behaviour. Instead, the time was filled largely by opposition MPs attacking the Conservative leader. Reveling in the absence of Tory MPs, Shadow Labour Minister Justin Matters said, only 8 Tory MPs on the backbenches in the debate on standards in public life, and one of them is the recently resigned anti-corruption czar. Clear the Prime Minister has lost the backing of his parliamentary party who aren't on the payroll. A push could also be made to get the party's backbench 1922 committee, which is in charge of confidence votes, to change the rules of leadership contests to hold another vote on the Prime Minister in the coming months. Thank you for watching our videos. Subscribe to our channel to get notifications when we post newest videos. Thank you and goodbye.